What's up, everyone? We got James Nicholas back on the pod after his week at the U.S. Open at Oakmont, where he made the cut. James, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm back on the road. I'm now in Wichita, Kansas for the Corn Ferry event. So the grind doesn't stop. We're right back
Yeah,
at it.
so as soon as you made the qualifier back at Canoebrook and Summit, me and my dad were like, you know what, we got to go out to Oakmont. We got to check out the practice round. Was able to follow you around for a few holes, meet some of your family members. So it was an awesome experience. You were really cool to me and my dad, so I appreciate you for that.
Oh, of course. Good to see you out there. I saw your post, and I was like, whoa, what are you doing? You're kicking field goals now on the
Yeah.
18th fairway?
Yeah. So first question, how did it feel going under par round one at Oakmont, first round of the U.S. Open?
Yeah, a lot of emotions, a lot of just like a reminder that I'm good enough. In this game, you get knocked down a whole lot. You lose a lot more than you win, and I'm not used to that. Growing up in the football background, the hockey background, where if you're on a good team, you win 90+% of your games. Right, in golf, if you win 5% of the time as a golfer, you're one of the best players in the world. So just to have like a good start to prove myself, hey, I'm at the close to the top leaderboard in the biggest tournament in the world. Gives me chills when I say that. But it was definitely a pretty crazy first round, that's for sure. I never imagined that in my wildest dreams. Obviously, just getting there was a really big goal of mine, and then to perform like that under that much pressure in round one was pretty cool.
Just seeing you keep climbing up the boards, and then so after day two, you bounce back on the back nine. You have 3 birdies in a row, I believe. What was it like waiting after that round to see what the cut line was going to be at? Because it must have been 5 or 6 hours after you finished before you heard whether you got in.
Yeah, my family and we went back to the Airbnb. We turned the TV on and we were just watching. And slowly, people would just make bogey after bogey after bogey. And my number went from 75th to 65th to 60th, back to 65th, and then finished around 57 with the top 60 making the cut. So it was one of the most stressful days of my life, just a waiting game. I couldn't control anything. I was just sitting there. Probably shouldn't have watched the coverage. Probably should have done something else in my time, but we were all so just invested in it. And, when that moment came where I was like, hey, I'm playing the weekend, it was like a little bit of me was like, I got to shut that off, reset, and go sleep and get ready for the weekend. But a little bit of me was like, how cool is this? I'm playing the weekend at the U.S. Open,
Yeah, me and my dad were rooting against everybody in the field for like 4 hours, hoping you were going to get in.
I mean, shamelessly, I was too.
What would you say is the best part about your week at Oakmont?
Everything. It was like even I made a quad on the second round, and I was smiling throughout the entire process. It's just I get to play golf in front of thousands of people, and just to look around and see the amount, like the impact I had on these young kids. I was tossing balls to kids, tossing gloves, trying to just engage the fans a little bit, and to see their smiles, to really just put it into perspective how cool of a job I have and how cool of an opportunity I have to touch other people's lives and to really try to inspire them and just give them the time of day. So even when I wasn't playing well, I made some bogeys, made some doubles, made some a quad. I just tried to have that perspective and just enjoy it because there's 8 billion people that would have traded places with me just to have that opportunity. And I think that a lot of us we lose sight of that. When you start having success and you start doing things, you kind of take it for granted. So I just wanted to enjoy the whole process, the whole entire tournament. And I'm glad. I think I did that, and I was able to just really cherish the moment. And yeah, like I said, I was there for myself, but I was also there, enjoying it with friends and family and strangers who I'd never met before. And I feel like a lot of people were living vicariously through me back in Scarsdale, and past coaches and teammates. So it was just a dream.
Super cool. All right, so last 2 questions. My cousin actually works for Protivity, and I saw before the round you said every birdie you make, Protivity will donate X amount of meals. So you ended up making, I think, 9 birdies. So how many meals will be sent over to wherever they're going?
Yeah, so it was 10,000 as a base, and then 500 for every birdie that I made. So plus, I think it was 4,500. So I think they donated 14,500 meals from on behalf of me, which was a pretty cool thing that we were able to do with Protivity and to go towards a great cause. It definitely gave me a little bit more of a incentive to make some birdies. Although I was pretty determined to make some birdies for other reasons as well.
That's awesome. All right, final question, niche notable question. So what would a 15 to 20 handicap golfer, aka myself, what would they shoot at Oakmont during U.S. Open conditions?
I mean, everybody's been asking this all over social media and whatnot. And actually, I think a scratch golfer just went out and played it, but they played for the members tees, so that doesn't count. I'm discounting that. I think he shot like 90 something. But are there ball? Like, let me ask you a question: are there going to be ball spotters out there for you or
No,
no?
just me out there alone. No caddy.
You wouldn't finish. You wouldn't finish.
That's awesome. Yeah.
You would have finished. I almost lost the ball 2 times hitting in the rough with thousands of spectators and spotters there looking at it the whole time. You have to literally be if you started your clock with 3 minutes to find every one of your balls, you couldn't bring enough golf balls to find them. The rough was so thick. So if you did have spotters, if you had spotters, and you're a 20 handicap, so like at your local muni, you're shooting like say 95.
Yeah, about right. About right.
I mean, I would like 1.5x that, so in the 130s,
All right,
you
sweet.
know.
Take
140.
Yeah.
It would definitely boost your handicap a little bit, bump it up. That way you can go win your member
Of
guest
course,
next
of
week.
course. All right, so that's all we got. Thanks for jumping on. He's in Wichita, Kansas this week, another event. So let it rip, and thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
Of course, appreciate it.